Oh man, I've been talking to myself. Welcome back to Product Like It's Friday on a Monday. Today is election day in Canada. And so if you have not voted yet and you are a Canadian, go vote. You still have time. Don't watch the stream, go vote. Anyway, I wanted to say that on Friday, but forgot. So this is my last little chance. So welcome back. Today I will be doing the stream mostly by myself. Adnan may or may not join later today. And my goal today is really to get into a state of flow, which was something I really struggled with on Friday. So on Friday, we spent some time on looking at the more visual side of design. And I found it really hard to think out loud. I think I did a little bit of reflection on it didn't feel like I ever got into a state of flow where things are just clicking. And I think a large part of that is that I'm not used to speaking out of my thoughts as I go through, because there's a lot of like micro decisions I'm making in a moment that usually when I'm designing, I'm not really talking to anybody about it. And it's almost like my brain and hands just are connected, and I don't have to explain it. And I think, like, in a way, it's almost like because I have to explain it, I'm filtering what I'm doing, because it has to make sense. And I think a lot of the actions you take when it's learning from years of experience becomes more like intuition, and it's harder to explain um, as you go. So anyway, today I want to try something a little bit different, and try to just, like, my goal is to get into a state of flow. The output doesn't matter as much as I guess what's happening here. Um, so what I will be doing is, whenever it feels like I don't have capacity to be, thinking out loud, I'm still I'm still going to share my screen and show off my process. But if I feel like I am kicking up my brain to high gear to just focus on design, and I don't have capacity to um, explain everything that I'm doing, I'm going to not speak. I am going to just put on some music and try to get into a state of flow. With that said, let me share my screen. All right. So I did cheat a little bit and did a little bit of this ahead of time, mostly because it's hard to like know when motivation strike as well. So I did do a little bit of playing around, like during the weekend, without streaming everything. So a little bit here, I guess I will go through what I've done. I think on Friday, where I've left off on the design side, is fairly close to the wireframe, in that like it's more just like a polished up version of the wireframe. And I think there's a part of me that was feeling like I have to stick with the wireframe, and the placement of everything else. Whereas during the weekend, when I started just moving things around on the board, um, on Figma, I started thinking about like, okay, like these elements, even though I put them at certain places, they don't have to be where they are, on the wireframe. So I started looking at alternative ways to present information. So in this case, I tweaked a little bit of like both the visual and, the, I guess, what information is displayed. Admittedly, I did not watch all of Adnan's streams, so I probably don't have all of the notes. But I did catch that we are now generating Ooh, is that a lobster? No, sorry, I'm distracted. Um, we're generating animal emojis, I think, or icons or something for each player. And I thought it could be cool to show what that looked like. I'm using emojis because there are so many animal emojis that we could use. And this is not a lobster, it's a moose. And so what I have here is just what it could look like if we wanted to display like the whole list of players. So in this case, you are looking at what a question page looks like during round 1, turn 3. Actually, it should be turn 4 because I just noticed that Mary is going fourth. I'm a fan of alliteration. I don't think we should do this, but I like I like things that rhyme. I like things that have like the same letters start. Anyway, it's besides the point. And then what I've also spent some time on is just like how can we present information in a way that's not overwhelming. So I might change my mind about showing the whole list down the line, but I'm gonna start just iterating on a couple versions. And then front and center is like the question itself, and I think the timer is should be more significant, whereas the CTAs can go into the footer. I guess another thing to note is that I am using Nuxt components a little bit more in this iteration. So I'm using the card component, for example, for both of these cards. So what you do, like if I wanted to, for example, maybe I want to add, oh, no, I don't like that. But maybe I want to add another card next to these two. I don't think I should, but that's something I could do. And maybe I can be like, Phil. So this is kind of my process for like building these components out. So if I were creating, I don't know, maybe this is where people can chat in the future, but not anytime soon. So I'm gonna get rid of that. You will also notice that I added a settings button. I don't know. I just think that sooner or later we're gonna need something, whether it's like, oh, like I forgot to put in a student, or like I don't know, somebody had to leave and I need to take them out of the running or something. Sooner or later, I think we need to give the teacher a little bit more control. So I'm just putting that as a placeholder. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I think I also considered like, does it really matter what turn it is for the players? And how much does the whole list matter versus maybe it's the next 3? That was something I played around with as well. At this point, I'm pretty happy with like the layout of this UI. And I want to play a little bit with the visuals. So obviously there is a logo, but for now I'm just using a placeholder. Who knows, maybe we'll stick with something like this. And then I like the idea of like having a highlight color, which is why, I started with a palette like this. You have a light gray, you have a dark gray for any background that requires that. And then you got your primary orange and yellow. And then I'm thinking of two like highlight. One is a little bit darker and warmer, and one is a little bit cooler and brighter. And as you note, I have not used all of them. In fact, most of this, I'm actually just using Nuxt like UI text, like the default color, just to make things a little bit simpler. And I'm almost thinking that we don't need the gray at all if we want to keep things easy for ourselves. And then for these like grayed out ones, I'm using UI text dimmed. And the only place that I'm actually using those brand color is this timer. So this is, I think, secondary orange. Yeah, because like the yellow would not be very legible. And then I'm using the purple, like the highlight violet. I don't think this is violet, but whatever. To highlight like the current player. I'm also adding like this little thinking bubble to indicate this person is answering, but I think I think maybe we need a little bit better indicator than a thinking bubble because it's not the clearest like what this means. Um, so yeah, I think that's where I'm at. At this point, I am looking to add some, I don't know, something more alive, I guess. So I am gonna actually stop talking for a sec because I need a moment to find my bearings. So I'm just looking for this illustration kit that I really liked. I'm just trying to find where it is because I have too many tabs open as usual. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen on that as well, just so you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, just resizing it so that it's not ridiculous. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. Again, I'm using Storytale. I have never really used any assets from this source. And like, I'm very intrigued because even though I like art, I don't really draw much. And you know, maybe down the line I'll be like inspired to like draw something. Like, but in the meantime, I really like the idea of just having ready to go assets, and I think they also do a good job of like value props. It's like save on designing for your next startup idea. Because when you're building a product, you want to like minimize as much friction as possible. So even if I like the side quest of creating my own illustrations, you know, it's best to not like get sidetracked into it. So I'm currently looking at the Cartoonize kit, I guess. There's also some interesting ones here, but I don't think they're free because I looked into this. Yeah, these guys are not free, but it would be really cool, like if this is the player icons, or like, yeah, I think this would be really cool to get access to. But for the moment, I'm just gonna look for some. Wait, where is it? I think I lost track of where I was supposed to go. Okay, here. No, I'm just at the same place. Okay, so I am going to download a couple of these because I think they are interesting. And I'm just looking at them and thinking about like how I want to use them. So for context, I have my Figma window on one side and then this browser on the other, because I'm thinking about like, are these decorative? Can any of this be used in a functional manner? There's one little piece of a game that I really like, that I want to somehow incorporate. And I'm also thinking about that. And that game in particular is called Drawful. And what I really like about it is actually I would just show you. I don't know if you get. We don't need to know how to play it, but it's a fun game. Like Adnan and I were half jokingly maybe talking about like just playing games for one of the sessions to learn little pieces from it. So how Drawful works is, you enter a 4-letter code. It's a room code, so like you and your friends enter it to go into the same session. You put in a name, and then you draw a picture of yourself, and then each of you get like a wacky prompt. So, for example, Penguin Parade, and you only have 2 colors, and I think you have 30 seconds, or I don't actually know. You have a small amount of time. And then once everybody's finished, the whole group gets together to guess what the title is. And I think the players have, oh man, that was quick. The players have, oh, here it is. So the players have, I think, 30 seconds. And this is the part that I really like about like the progress bar or the timer is this is I think this is a cat like touching their phone or something, tapping their phone. But what I love about it is that there is both numerical signals, so like 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and like the delightful animation. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a better. Yeah, I don't think they show that. Oh, there it is. And then they have different animations for each drawings, and I really like the idea of that. And maybe maybe there is something there to be played with. So that's something on my mind. I'm thinking I don't know if I want to deal with like animating the the motion or anything like that. But at the very least, I think it could be cool to, instead of having just like a boring progress bar dwindle down, like maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's like picking a fun icon that moves or something. Um, yeah. So at this point, I'm thinking about like, okay, like, are there components that I want to take from this illustration kit? And I think I quite like this. I think it's a little busy. So maybe I like the watering ones. I don't know why. I'm just gonna download them. And then I also like these ones. I don't know if they will be useful, but I do like them. And I'm also thinking about like, it's gotta be like gender neutral. Because we don't want to complicate things unnecessarily. So I like these as well. I don't know if they will be useful. Again, I can see this being super fun for like a version of the game where the audience can interact. So even just emoting, like just being like heart, or like, I don't know, TikTok. I don't know. I think that could be fun. Also, just randomly, I just want to note that these are AI generated. So that's neat. I don't know how. I would imagine that somebody needed to like set a certain style at the very least, or like create some sort of like guidance before generating it. So I just downloaded the plant ones, the gardening ones, because I think like some of these are a little more, I don't know, serious. I like this again, but I don't know if this is too busy. Anyway, I've downloaded them and I am going to put them somewhere. First, I am just finding them in my download folder because it's always a mess in there. I'm gonna put them in the assets page. I'm not making anything components just yet. I'm just literally putting as much things I find as possible in here so that I can draw from them as we go. And then there's this one. Okay, I am gonna change the color of this background because I want to see. I want to see clearly. And I think that's it. Those are the 3 I downloaded. And then there's also like really fun ones from this, like these styles, which I will look at some point. For now, I'm looking at freebies and just looking through them. It could be fun to use like this crying one for saying you got it wrong. Perhaps I like this. I mean, it's wacky, but. And then I want to find something that feels like a good success illustration as well, just to echo that. Maybe it's this. Maybe I know this. Like a lot of these are designed for a different purpose. Like I think they are all for like, okay, not all of them, but some of them are like for 404 errors. Technically, in my past, I have also designed 404 errors, like placeholder images, in my own work, and it is a lot of fun to create your own illustrations. But I really like some of these, and I think it could be fun to like just play with the different styles as well, because like I don't know, they are very different styles, and I probably will not. Oh man, I just realized I cannot share like 2 separate browsers, so I was not sharing my Figma. So I'm gonna share my Figma now because I think I've brought in enough things. So I stole, like, steal is a strong word, but I got this like sad girl with flower crying thing and this one. But I am noting that they are both girls, so they may not work for the gender neutral thing. But anyway, I think I'm happy with like some of these guys, so I'm gonna start seeing like if there is something I can take from here. Oh look, is this a bee? I don't know, I'm not sure. So these guys did not separate the illustration into individual components, so I kind of have to do that myself, which I'm kind of annoyed because I'm lazy. So I'm gonna do that quickly. So right now I'm just grouping the items. Is this like a set? It's hard to tell what's happening here. Like, what is going on? Maybe this is like the consequence of the AI generated this. So I just grouped bits that I think should be grouped. Arguably, this little guy. Okay, I'm just gonna give them a little bit more space to breathe. Oh no, not like that. Okay, I'm gonna actually ungroup this whole thing because I am tired of being bound by it. So now I'm separating the components a little bit. And then I'm So doing the same here. Okay, so I gotta select that, but not. Yeah, this is hard. Okay, just gonna take this out. Okay, I'm gonna select a little bit more. Oh my god, okay. So there's something going on here that's like linking everything together. And I'm also struggling with shortcuts because I usually use a Mac, and now I'm like, I have to figure out how to. I'm using my like personal device for personal projects, and it's a PC. So shortcuts is not happy with me. So maybe I will try to select. There's definitely something weird going on with like the components. So let me try to just select them one by one. Did I get them all? Nope. How about now? Nope. Did I get it? Okay. Almost. There we go. There we go. Okay. Great. Okay, now I've grouped that, and now I can group the remaining thing. Just getting them out of the frame. All right. I don't know why I'm spending time doing this. Like, why am I like this? Ungroup, and then group this whole thing. Okay, so now I have little pieces that I can, play with. So if, for instance, I'm going here and thinking, oh, it could be fun if, where'd it go? If like, I don't know, like maybe this little dude is pushing the cart. I don't know, with the, okay, hold on. I have to just try it because it might be wonky and it might not. We'll see. Oh, where did the little dude go? I've added him. Oh, there he is. So this will happen when you use auto layout religiously. So I've added auto layout so that the components are always 40 40 40 on all sides, including here. Oh no, this is not 40 40 40. What the heck? Okay, that is because it's not fill container. Okay, get out of here. Okay, so now it's filling. This is filling too. And that's fine. Okay, so now it should be 40 40 40. Yeah, great. But what I was saying is that when auto layout is on, and when you add something to a page, you can't just willy-nilly add it. It has to go somewhere, especially if it's not. Yeah, so currently this is a group. So if it's in a frame with auto layout on, so anything that has like numbers attached to it essentially. So basically the calculation determines where the components are rather than where you put it specifically. And I'm also going to change the background here because I want to be able to see my little dude. And what I'm trying to go for here is I have to figure out if it's okay that I'm modifying the components. Because I'm also thinking, like, why does this guy have 3 eyes? Or is that a nose? Okay. So I'm going to get rid of one of his 3 eyes and make this a little smaller because I like balance. Okay. Little guy seems a lot more normal now. Also, the flower has 2 eyes too. Anyway, I am very distracted. I'm gonna flip it because the idea in my mind is that this little guy is a part of the progress bar. Let's see if this is one of the situations where it looks worse than it seems in my brain. So we'll see. Okay. So far, I am not completely discouraged. I'm just shifting things a little bit. Okay, not too bad. Like if this is a little guy that's just walking across the screen. Sorry, I should make that bigger. Walking across the screen. Maybe the... Okay, I think Adnan will hate me for this, but I need to... I just need to see how it... Oh my god, please, let me select. I just need to see how it looks, because I just need to know. I want to put the 74 in the flower pot. But maybe not. Maybe that's too much. Okay, let's stick with this for now. And I'm gonna change the color to one of our colors. Nope. I honestly think it looks better with black because it's like a doodle style. So I'm going to use the same color as the text, which I think is actually which is it? Oh man, I don't know what color this is because this is a part of the design system that I did not create. So I have to go see what color that is. I guess I could. Yeah, UI text. So I'm just looking for the design kit and just make sure that I'm using the right color. Again, not really important at this point because we're just exploring, but I don't like it when there are too many like different colors that look the same. So I'm gonna let that load because it's taking a while. Oh, there we go. So this is the design system with everything, and I'm just here to look for their tokens, their variables. So UI, what is it? UI text? So UI text is neutral 700 and UI text highlighted is neutral 900. Oh. So I'm gonna just see what that looks like. Instead of like the gray dark that we defined. So 700 neutral. That's a little, I don't know. Let's do 900 because I think it also match like the question. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I have no idea what's supposed to happen if like when the timer runs out. So I'm thinking a little bit about that. But given that currently I'm trying to think about like different styles applied to the app, and if we look at the wireframes, I chose, I guess, this screen or a combination of these two screens because I think it represents the game more than more than the welcome screen and more than like the round summary. So at this point, I think I want to create maybe a second screen for it before moving on to like tweaking some components of it, just to see if some of my design choices translate to a different screen. So I'm gonna use actually the next screen as, I guess, my basis for experimentation. And if you are just tuning in, I will also just repeat that I am trying something different today, in that I am probably not going to talk through everything that I'm thinking. Because last time when I tried to do live design, my struggle was getting into a state of flow where I'm still exploring them to the full extent with intuition and all. So when I am in high gear thinking mode, I will just put on some music in the background and let that go. So I am actually going to do that because I think some of this is going to be like just quick banging things out. So let's pick a mood. And I'm making a duplicate quickly so that I can iterate on it quickly. So I'm trying to take this, and I also like to reference the Live app. So I'm gonna see if I still have access to that. Too many things open. Where is it? Where's my screenshots? I do use screenshots a lot. Like when it comes to something like this. And this is really just my process. I think I want to stick. I don't know. We'll see. For now, I will stick to this style. We no longer need timer. I do want to add something. Oh Jesus! I'm sorry for using. I don't know, something like that. Doesn't need to be so large. Oh. one, or maybe okay, I see. Okay, I think my problem is that I'm using the primary and the success look too similar. Like they're literally the same. So anyway, so I'm gonna use the primary, except the primary color is gonna be different. So I have not spent much time on figuring out like tweaking the design system itself. So I'm gonna kind of just hack it. It's not very good when it comes to these things. So I'm just looking for the hex code. Take this hex code. Oops. Did not need to get rid of it. I see what Adnan was saying about the accessibility of the color. So I don't think it's the best primary color. But what I will do is actually just change it so that invert it. Same thing with the check mark. Okay, so next up, so I'm happy with this. And then what else is there? There's the finish round. I don't know if we should have a finish round. I guess we. Okay, I like this. I think what I don't love so far, and this is where it's helpful to have like multiple screens, because then you're evaluating like the button placement. Because I like that. Let me just turn off the music a bit. Turn down the music a bit. I like that. There are distinct space between the next up CTA and the finish round, because it would be expensive to get them mixed up. But I don't like that they align with the correct and incorrect paradigm, if you will. I also don't like what is going on here with the spacing. Am I just picky? Let me see. Like, why is the top? Okay, I need to figure out what's going on here, because like it's gonna drive me nuts. So this should be hug contents. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm just very particular sometimes, and I think that's good. And this is 74. I want to make the 74 as well, just to make it like the same. And I want this to be so perfect. Okay, so I tweaked that. So I'm gonna just take that here. Whoops, did not mean to do that. no longer Mary's turn, and she is moving on. Just gonna take the styling of that. I had also considered adding some sort of signal that people are passing on to the next stage. I'm not super sold on it because I think it could be distracting, like whether it's a check mark or something, which is why I end up going with just a simple, like, this is how many people are moving on so far. And I'm now wondering if, yeah, like just stealing the styling again. And I know that some of this information is being repeated, like, you know, here and here. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. I think it's okay. I think this makes sense in that, like, okay, like here is the. I almost want this whole thing to be highlighted. Like, maybe there is a highlight color, or is that weird? Okay, if I want to add a highlight color, I will have to do a little bit more than that. So maybe I will actually disconnect the color and just tweak the color a bit. Just right here. Because I do like the idea of like highlighting, so that it's easy to see, but I don't love that. We need some radius, just ever so slightly. We need some radius and we need some space. So unfortunately, this does mean that I will probably need to like tweak some stuff. Yeah, just adding some space all around. I don't love that radius. I wanna make it a little bit more. Like, I'm thinking like highlighter style. So maybe medium. Another thing about me is that I cannot sit still. So I'm shifting around on my chair as well. So you might hear that. I kind of like this. Let me just zoom out and see. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I'm undecided. For now, I'm thinking like maybe the correct button needs to be solid. And we can just go with solid colors so that it's easy to tell which are the primary actions. They also match up with this. Finish round is definitely, I don't know, do we need finish round? Okay, let me add a comment so that, do we need finish round when the teacher adds students to the game ahead of time? Because we designed the finish round, I guess, functionality because we had originally thought without uploading a list of players, the teacher should be able to say, okay, everybody has gone, but because we are allowing folks to be added as players, now I'm not sure if we need finish round. So something to chat about for sure. I also think it could be really cool if this is my ADHD, if this is a gradient. Like, what if this is a gradient? So first I'm gonna, oh jeez, oh no, okay, I need okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these hex code, because I'm sick of referring to them. There. And I mean, I could just copy them here, but I am gonna see if I can just cheat a little bit and just quickly throw this together. The gradient. I'm gonna guess that this is not gonna look really good because the colors are too close together, but you never know. You never know. Okay, it's not bad. I don't love it. I don't need to love it. Now I'm just gonna try if a different color could work. I like kind of like that. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Okay, going back here. Yeah, the highlighted color. I like the highlighter color. Definitely needs a little bit of tweaking. So I will do that. Oh, what happened to the library? Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I'm just gonna add some space. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I want the emoji to start at the same place as the round one, which is 24 pixels from the left edge. There is, how much is this? 8 here. So therefore I need, I think, 16. Yeah, okay. Cool. So 16, that looks good. What I want to do is just make sure it looks okay here as well. Yeah, let's see. I want 16 so that the spacing all around feel even. Just also looking at the bottom. Okay, not bad. Okay, let me put this back. And then the other thing I'm thinking of is I think there is a gap of 4, and I don't think we need that. Instead, I want a little more space that way. And then this way, it's really just about, is the highlighter on or is it off? So again, not the best method, I would say, but just to quickly illustrate what that means, it would basically mean this is hidden and then there's no highlighter color. So I'm just gonna quickly do that. Cool. And then also thinking about like, what does an eliminated player, what should that look like? Should it be clear? Should their icon become like a, I don't know, like a, I don't know. Is that too metal? You know what? I don't care at this point. So I am not gonna continue doing this, but I will. It's so tough because I'm like, I want to see how it look holistically, and so maybe I will just quickly do this. I'm just copying this over. And there's this idea while I'm doing like a boring task, I have capacity to speak. There's this idea that is kind of in my head on what else I want to share with the world, I guess, is one way to put it. And it's the idea of live vibe coding. And I know that people have different, I guess, approaches when it comes to building products. And I am not an engineer, so I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I have like my experience with coding anything is very limited to small scale experiments. So things like creating a live A/B test where, you know, one button is green and one button is blue, and like measuring the conversion or like a certain user behavior. I'm very familiar with that, but it's very self-contained and does not require as much, I guess, systemic knowledge is how I think about it. And I know for sure that if I want to experiment with vibe coding for a real product, not just an experiment, I'm going to run into issues. But I don't know. I'm down to try it out. Definitely not today, but one idea that I'm thinking about is like, okay, like while Adnan takes the time to build out the rest of the functionality, I mean, probably once we've decided on a design direction, then maybe I can just see what I can build with AI powered tools and go from there. So I'm gonna, okay, I think I will stop here because I don't want to be spending all my time. So let's just assume that this whole list is populated, and I am liking the spacing a lot more with this change, as well as the highlight. I'm not entirely sold on the specific color of the highlight, but I do like the idea. And I also like the idea of like maybe the emoji of the person answering is bouncing a little bit or something. So let's, you know what? I don't even want this icon anymore. I'm just gonna hide it rather than delete it. So in case we bring it back. One thing that I am not very good at as a designer is to make copies as I go. So as you notice, I have not made a copy of different versions. I don't know, like that is something that I know is something I'm supposed to do as a designer, and I just don't do it. So I'm not very good at like keeping record of like the iterations I've done. I try to do it every once in a while, more like checkpoints rather than like, you know, every single iteration, because I guess again I'm lazy. So okay, going back to the second screen that I was working on, I'm just gonna take this so that the second screen also have the newer designs of the round, like the list of players component. And I should also, I almost wonder if this should say like how many people. I like this emoji. Like, what if it's this one? No. I like this. I think it's definitely like way too intense for what we're doing, but I do like it. So maybe I will do like 118, and I know that the 18 part is redundant, so maybe it's just 3 and 1. Go horizontal, auto layout, middle. Okay, I don't know. I don't hate it, but I'm not sure. Let's try the number after the emoji. Okay, why is my... Okay, and then I also want the font to be not dimmed. UI text. There we go. Okay, so this is saying 3 people have passed, 1 person has been eliminated. Okay. I don't like... Okay, I think I like this. I'm undecided. So I'm gonna, again, take that here and just plop that in there. But in this case, it's 0 so far. Okay, going back here. We got the correct message. So in either cases, so whether Mary has answered it correctly or incorrectly, there would be the answer revealed. There would be a message on like they're moving on to round whatever, and then there would be a next up button of some kind. And then this is still round, I guess, turn 4, because it's just communicating what's the result of this turn. So in this case, Mary is still being highlighted, but Joyful Jamal is next. Okay, I like that. So at this point, because I don't there are a couple ways I could go next. See, look at me deleting things. Like, I should not be deleting things in general. Let me just put them back. So at this point, I could either continue to flesh out this design, which honestly I might. So like thinking about like, what does it look like if I get the question wrong? What does the leaderboard look like? What does the welcome screen look like? What does the round, I guess the pre-round page look like? I think we're gonna need to have consistent naming conventions for like the names of the screens. But in the meantime, oops, I'm just gonna call this the answer screen and this the question screen. I guess another thing to note is that I have taken out the step of locking answer. I'm happy to hear, I'm happy to debate about it, but in this case, I'm almost wondering like if it's redundant, because if the player has an answer ready, then you can just say it's correct or incorrect. Unless the assumption would be that the player would give their answer right away. And like the time, I guess the tracking of the time can be tricky if there is no intermediary step. But for now, it can also act as like this page, right? So I think I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. What I would do next is, I think instead of fleshing out the rest of it, I want to see if I can come up with a different style for these 2 screens. So I am gonna just put the stuff that I've been playing around with to the side because I am easily distracted. So I'm gonna put that to the side. Speaking of easily distracted, I was going to look at the live product. That's what I was gonna do, and I did not do it. Let me just open it and see if I can still works. Great. I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess that I do not have the latest version, but we'll see. Let me take a quick look. I'm just looking on my browser right now off Figma to see the sandbox, code sandbox deployment. I don't think it's too happy with me. Okay, no, it's doing a thing. Not sure. Okay, I don't think it's gonna work while we're here. So I'm gonna do what I said earlier, and it's just exploring a couple of different variations. So first, I guess one other idea that I had was like having the background be more interesting. So maybe I will do that and just think about like what that could look like. So first I'm gonna just duplicate it, and maybe it's just a matter of like coming up with a nice pattern, because of what I really like about some of the examples we looked at. Like I really like the Scriblio background because it's, you know, it's quirky, it's fun, and it's not too hard. Just about creating a pattern. So I'm thinking about like, I don't know, giving it some oomph. So I think what I'm going to do is I want to find a pattern, a background pattern to apply to it. And there are a couple different places where you can find those. I like subtle patterns, but I'm trying to remember if they've rebranded to something else. So I'm just looking for free web pattern background. That's just what I'm searching, is just free pattern BG. Ideally, I want SVG background, but I'm not too torn about it. Okay, so I'm just opening a couple of pages to see if they are okay. This is not bad. So I'm gonna paste this on a where should I put this? I guess brand. I'm just gonna paste this somewhere here because I think it's, these are just like resources I've personally used. And then, I guess while I'm here, I should add the Storytale patterns, which is here. So I will probably be using these two packs. So the open stickers and the cartoon ice. And then for the pattern side of things, I'm just seeing if there is a good pattern here. Okay. I'm gonna share my other screen because I think it's worth taking a look at this tool in particular, rather than just, I don't know. So let's see. So this is the tab. So this is the page I'm looking at. I don't know if it's free. I think it is. But I like that it's SVG, and I like that you can set your own colors. I mean, because it's SVG, that means I can probably edit it myself once I import it. But I'm just looking at a couple patterns here. I'm eyeballing the hexagons because bees. Yeah, let's just download the unstyled SVG. And then I'm also just scanning to see if there are other ones I want to try. I don't know. I think like when I'm building stuff in general, I'm usually looking for like more subtle patterns. This is neat. I kind of like this one. But I do like the hexagon style in general. So I'm gonna see if I wanna. I guess let's try a couple. Doesn't hurt. Just downloading a couple of them. I like this. This is kind of funky. Because this is supposed to be a fun thing. I'm less concerned about like the subtlety, I guess. So I'm actually trying to deliberately pick the more, I don't know, the more delightful stuff, like the random shapes. But these in general are not very like bubbly, if you will. Like the Pie Factory is, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to like try them out and see how they look. Like this is one that I probably would use myself. So I'm gonna just try it because why not? Okay, cool. All right, back to Figma. And I will probably call it in like 15 minutes, I want to say. So I just want to get to a point where it feels like I'm actually iterating on something. And there's a little bit more interest on the screen. So I'm just gonna hide as much as possible here. And what I'm gonna do is, let me find my list of downloads, which is again harder than it needs to be. Okay, here they are. So I have a couple of like zipped files that I need to extract. Man, I wish they don't need confirmation. So I'm just extracting these files. Extract. Okay. Also, oh, where did my screen go? Oh, did I not? Okay, did I not share the screen? Okay, I don't know what's going on, but my screen is not happy. Let me stop the music because it's now distracting me. Stop screen sharing. Like, what if I just restarted? There we go. Okay, we're back. So I have my little patterns back here. And what I'm gonna do is, I think they're just SVG files. Oh, I don't know why they wanna open. Okay. So this is what they look like. Again, I'm gonna put them in the assets section because, oh, they're very tiny here. So this is like a pattern, right? Like it's not like the whole background. And what I am just doing is just putting the patterns here, even though I'm likely not going to refer to these in particular. And I'll show you what I mean in a bit once I've added them here. So these are the patterns, the unstyled ones, and all the ones that I want to at least give it a try. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just seeing if I got all of it. I think there's one more. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. There is one more, and it's that like wooden. Oh, Jesus, that's a big one. Okay, so these are the patterns that we can play with. And I'm sure there are other ones out there as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hide Yeah, I guess just hiding that is fine. And unfortunately, I will have to detach and then add. And I'm looking to add, yeah. So in Figma, unfortunately, with patterns. Oh, you know what? I want to just quickly do a side quest of AI image tool. Oh no. Okay, never mind. I thought this would just like generate an image, but it's just like removing background, boost resolution, which it's not bad. Definitely down to give that a try. Okay, so I am going to add now the patterns. So you can't see my I guess browser window, not browser window, my file explorer, I guess. But I am just currently selecting the file from my local folder. So no, okay, so the file type SVG cannot be used as image fill. That's lame. Okay, give me one more second. So let me just see if I can. Okay, so I can just use CSS. See, this is where I'm like, vibe coding could be cool because Figma is just like, no, you don't use SVG, and it just makes no sense. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is actually, because these patterns are here already, I'm gonna export them all as a PNG because the heropatterns.com did not give me a PNG file, and I don't know why I'm lining lining them up uh, neatly because I'm weird like that. But I'm gonna export all of them. So I'm just selecting them all and just exporting them at 1x and then just putting them in a folder called background patterns. This is, I don't know, it's not the most useful method because when we go from design to code, none of this is relevant because there's just CSS that can be applied. But for illustrating Figma, sadly, we have to do this. So I've just selected one of the patterns. And as you see, it's very large and not very beautiful. But it's easy because all you need to do is just go tile. And there's a pattern. And then I'm also gonna bring the, I guess, interface back just to see how it all looks together. I don't love it, but there are things you can play with here in terms of like the most obvious is just like reducing the opacity. What does that do? You can also think about like, okay, this tile is very small, and that definitely contribute to like it just being like a grainy background. So in this case, if I wanted to play with like the size of the tile, I would probably go back to my go to my file, export the bubble at, I don't know, 4x and see how that goes. I'm not gonna do that right now. Maybe I'll do it later, but not right now. I just wanna get a sense of like the other ones first, because I mean, this is not my first choice anyway. So I am just gonna change to, let's say, circles. I also do not love this. And a part of it is that like the background color is already like white or grayish, and it's just not the most interesting combination, and combined with like the tiny tile on a huge screen. So I'm gonna just try the other ones. So I'm gonna zoom in and just look at how that looks like. Because like if I'm happy with the pattern itself, just not the size, then I can tweak it. So this one I actually don't hate. Not that I hated the other ones. Let me just go back to the circles one. Like this is not bad. This is not bad if it's bigger. And the bubbles, like none of them are like horrible. So maybe I'll just export them all at a larger size and see how that goes. And I'm just testing them all. So Pi Factory. One thing I want to turn off is the. How do I turn off the grid? Okay, maybe I can't turn off the grid because it's way too zoomed in. So I don't love the Pi Factory because it looks, I don't know, it looks like incomplete blueprint to me. I love this actually. I like this, but it's also like, I don't know, like there is something about it that feels a little too rigid. But maybe at a larger size it will look more sane. And I think there's one more. Oh, I like this. Weirdly, this is the one that I thought I would not use here. But first, I just want to export them all at larger size because I think. Oh, heck. So I want to export them at 4x because they're all SVG files. I can make them as large as I want, really. So I almost wonder if 4x is not big enough. Let's do wild. Let's do 10x. And I'm very lazy, so I am literally replacing the files in my local folder because I don't want to name them. And yeah, okay. See, like I like that pattern, but when you zoom out, it's like what's happening? There's literally nothing happening back there, and that's why we need a larger pattern. So let's see what 10x look like. Okay, now we're going somewhere. Okay, so I really like this. I definitely would want a different color in the background than just white. Like maybe it's like a honey tone. I don't know, something like that. And then there's also things we can play with in terms of like exposure and all that stuff. The other thing to keep in mind of is that like because I'm applying it to one single layer, I can't play with I guess the appearance modes as much. But if I am just creating a background with multiple layers on top of each other, then I can play with, like maybe it's a screen filter, or I will illustrate that in a bit. But for now, I want to see what the other ones look like. And I also know that I think I should go soon, but let's quickly look at them. Okay, not bad. Definitely like I almost want to find a pattern where, see, I don't like this. Even at a larger size, it just feels too, I don't know, busy, I guess. But if I'm, for example, thinking about like the image, maybe it's, no, I don't. Do we want to play with this? Okay, maybe let's play with the color. Oh, no, so let's try the AI thing. Because I like the pattern, but I don't like that it's black. And I know I can just, change, the color here and make it white and then put it in there. But I'm curious. can I change the color to white? Can I just use AI to do this? Oh, something went wrong. Okay. Well, that's awkward. Okay, fine. I'll do it myself. I will do it myself. Let's make this white. And I will rename this because I am gonna get confused if I don't. And let's use curtain white. And in this case, I will need to change my background to something a little bit. Okay, I quite like this. Weirdly, I know that things will need to change. Like, obviously, this can't be black anymore. If this is a darker honey color, and like this icon needs to change as well. But maybe in the meantime, yeah, I think I would just add a. Anyway, I don't need to be doing that right now, but I don't hate this. And then I want to just now I'm making copies because I like this and I want to be able to revisit it. And then I'm gonna try a couple of the other ones. So topography one, I like this one, but I'm also not too sold on it. I'm just wondering if it's the right thing. But I think it does not work as well with like the darker background. So or something along those lines, and then using using the gray. Okay, not too shabby. I am just quickly making a couple variations that I would consider. What else was there? There was the hexagon one, which was kind of nice. Oh, the random shapes one. I like the random shapes one. Oh, okay. I thought I would like this, but I don't love it actually. Is it because it's too like I don't know, there's too many like horizontal lines. Like I think if the pattern is offset, which I can easily make myself as well, like if I just want to create my own pattern. And like basically what I'm saying is that I don't like that it stack on top of each other. Like I guess if I select it, for example, like you see that this is one tile and then the tiles are just like on top of one another. I can make my own tile so that they are more offset, if that makes sense. And then basically, I just have to like figure out how to like I don't know if that makes a difference though. And because I'm lazy, I am not going to find out because I think we have some other perfectly good options. So let me know if this is something that you are curious about how to do. But for now, I am just gonna try like the one last thing that I liked. So I like the hexagon because honey. I think I don't hate this. I think I prefer. Oh, sorry, just a thought popped into my head of like can be a combination of color and gradient and pattern. You can get pretty creative here. So let's see. So maybe I'm going with like this yellow. This is like too yellow. I like a mango yellow. It's better. Maybe this is how I can get around the honey pot thing. Because the orange has a lot of like, wait, where's my orange? Where's my orange? Oh. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Oh, okay, I'm struggling. That's what's going on. Okay, I don't know why the gradient is not working. Like, is this? Okay, there we go. Okay, I want the lighter color up there. Orange down here, and that looks kind of lame, in my opinion. I want to try like a different angle and just see if that makes a difference. And then the other thing that I sometimes do is layer gradients on top of gradients. I don't have a specific process. It's more just playing around. I like thinking about like different types of gradients. So the first one, the orange yellow one, is a linear one, and second one that I would probably try is a radial, and that just means I am picking out some colors, and I'm just playing around with how it interacts with each other. So at 100%. So if I want like a highlight color, blue is probably not going to be a good option. But you never know. You never know. Sometimes it just works. And I'm also like thinking about like, okay, the first gradient maybe it's at 60%, and the second one is at 50%, and I'm okay. This is not turning out how I'd like. So maybe a 20, 25. Okay, this is not bad. Can always tweak it later, but I think for the time being, I'm actually gonna try to limit the second gradient to like one side of the screen. And I like the red. I do like the red effect. I think like it's subtle, but it's like it brightens up a little bit, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of subtle. So I almost want to see if I can make it a little bit less subtle. I'm gonna put that here, and I like that there's a touch of like I guess the bar, what are we calling this? The timer bar. Okay, now I am truly distracted. So we can apply gradients and whatnot on top of any of these things. For now, I want to create like the third one, which is just a hexagon grid. And I think similarly, I want to make it white. So I'm going to export that. I also want to make it a little bit bigger. So maybe I'll do like a 20x. 20x is probably too much. 15x. Just putting that here, and then I'm gonna copy this one And I think what I want to do with this one in particular is I want to see how it could look like if it's a darker theme. So in that case, I'm thinking 100%, 50%. Oh, look at that, so vibrant. I don't hate it actually. It's quite exciting. Okay, but I do want to change the grid, the tile or whatever, to hexagon. Okay, I quite like this actually. And I want to see if, because at this point, I wonder if, oh no, I don't want it to be just in this file. I almost wonder if like this is a better theme for like dark mode. No, that does not look great. Undo. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with this. I think some of this definitely feel like it's jumping out a little too much with the background color. So I almost wonder if this is a matter of like making this not 100%. So like maybe it's like 90%. No. Okay, let's keep this for now. And then I think because we're coming up on time, I'm just gonna quickly see if I can make some of this more interesting. So maybe it's maybe we go for like the RGB style. I don't know. So something more vibrant with like pink. Yeah, look at that. And then we gotta make this color kind of match. It's purple. I do like the illustration, but I am wondering if I can, try a couple different styles. So I like that the illustration match the, I guess, the font style of the question. So I will probably tweak a little bit on that side. But in the meantime, I think, like, I definitely like these vibrant ones, but I think for the style of the font and the illustration, something simpler like this guy with this background is a better fit. It's more subtle. It's, you focus more on the question itself versus these guys. I feel like I would need to change the font style and the illustration style to match the energy, if that makes sense. I know like words like energy just sound very like serious. But that's where I'm at. I think, yeah, like maybe something like that, and then a different illustration. Like I don't know. I don't even know. Like, yeah, I would have to find something better. Maybe it's something more subtle. Oh, that's huge. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. Let's make that smaller. Yeah, but that doesn't work as well for like a fun moving thing. So I'll have to find another style of illustration. I think what I would do next is continue exploring this. And I think next step for me is just spending some time with Adnan to figure out which direction we are going towards. Obviously, there's a lot of changes than I guess what was originally on the wireframes. So I think there's definitely a bit of negotiation between us that need to happen in terms of like, okay, like, now we are like, what are we doing with the bees? um, in my brain right now is that like while I like the idea of like the bees flying off as a way of indicating they've been eliminated, I think it's probably way too repetitive for during the round or like during each turn. So I'm thinking about it like maybe at the end of a round on that like summary screen is where you see like, you know, this round started with 20 players, so there's 20 bees, and then like, you know, 5 people got eliminated, so 5 bees fly off the screen at once. And it's also less sad, so that like it doesn't feel like you as a solo bee is getting kicked out. Hopefully in a round more than one person gets eliminated, so it feels like you're flying off with a friend at least. That's as far as today go. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I may be streaming a little bit more in the next couple weeks, just because I have some more capacity. But we'll see. We'll see. And then I think once we have a good direction of the visual UI side of things, I will then start fleshing out the rest of the screen, so that we can build the rest of it. And then, yeah, trying to not think too far ahead as well. I think today worked out a lot better than Friday, because I gave myself the time to just be like, I can't talk and think at the same time. I still feel the pressure to do that though, even though I'm trying not to. But yeah, that's product like it's Friday on a Monday, and I think Adnan might be streaming a little bit in the future as well. Oh, I see people are commenting, and I have missed like all of it. That's great. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining, everyone. And I'm just seeing someday Mary will read the comments. It's funny. All right. Well, thank you for joining, everyone. And I will look forward to the next one.